Hello class. We'll be working on page 56, section 2.5, order of operations with integers. We're working out of your course pack, so please turn to page 56 so you can copy down what I'm talking to you about today. Okay, first of all, we want a review of our order of operations. The P stands for parentheses. That's the first thing that we do. Number 2, the E stands for exponents. Number 3, the M is multiply, and we also have or divide. Now remember, we do these according to which one comes first from left to right because they have the same rank. Now finally, number 4, we have addition or subtraction. It's whichever one of those comes first from left to right. Now we move down here to the examples. We move down to the bottom of page 56. Okay, we're going to apply the order of operations here. Okay, if you look here, the operations that we have is multiplication, we have parentheses, we have subtraction, we have multiplication, and we have parentheses. So the first thing we do is look inside the parentheses to see if anything can be done on the inside of the parentheses. We cannot do anything else with this 6. We cannot do anything else with this -2. So we're done with the parentheses. Now we look for the exponents. We don't see any exponents. So now we look for multiplication or division. We do have multiplication. So we're going to start with the multiplication. We have -3 times 6, which is -18, minus. We have -5, well, we have a minus we brought down, and 5 times -2, which would give us -10. Next, we have -18 minus a -10. Now we know this means opposite a -10. So this will become -18 plus 10. Now we add -18 plus 10 gives us a -8. Now moving on to problem number 2. What we have here, we have multiplication, we have this parenthesis and the exponent. We cannot do anything with this parenthesis, so our next order of operation is the exponent. So if you notice here, we have -3 in parentheses to the second power. So this is the same as saying -3 in parentheses times -3 in parentheses. And when you multiply that, -3 in parentheses times -3 in parentheses will give you a +9. So now we have subtraction, we have multiplication, and we can't do anything with this parenthesis here. So we'll bring down our 4 minus, and now we would take 6 times 9, which is 54. Now 4 minus 54 will give us -50. And that is it for problem number 2. Now we go to problem number 3. Now this time, inside of our parentheses, we actually can do something inside of our parentheses, unlike problems 1 and 2. So we do our parentheses first. We have -2 on the outside. 5 minus 8 is -3, minus 7. Now we're left with multiplication and subtraction. -2 times -3 is +6, and we bring down our -7. 6 minus 7 will give you -1. Okay, now moving on to problem number 4. Now look at these operations. We have exponents, subtraction, multiplication, and the parentheses. Now we would do the parentheses first, as according to our order of operation. So we'll bring down our -5 squared minus 8. And in parentheses, we add -9 plus 4, which is a -5. Now, look here. The next thing, we cannot do anything inside this parenthesis, so now we do our exponent. Negative 5 to the second power. Now remember, only the 5 is taken to the second power, so we just bring down this negative sign. So we bring down our negative sign, and we have 5 to the second power, which is 25. So that is negative 25 minus 8 times a negative 5. Now, we have subtraction and multiplication. We do the multiplication first. We will add 25 minus 8 times negative 5 is a negative 40. Now we have 25 minus a negative 40. Remember, this minus a negative is actually the opposite of negative 40, which will give us a positive 40. So now we have negative 25 plus 40, which gives us positive 15. And that is our final answer. Okay, now we're going to scroll down here to problem number 5. With problem number 5, we have a division problem here. Now remember, division has basically the same functions with multiplication. Let me restate that. Division has the same properties as multiplying positive and negative numbers. So if you add two negative numbers divided by each other, it's the same as multiplying two negative numbers by each other. Both of them will result in a positive number. If you have a negative divided by a positive, it's the same thing as having a negative times a positive. You will end up with a negative answer. So here we have negative 56, that doesn't change, divided by, we would take 2 times negative 4, which would give us negative 8. Now if you notice, we have a negative divided by a negative, which is positive. 56 divided by 8 will give us positive 7. And that is our final answer for number 5. Now we move on to number 6. Now again, since this is a fraction, we could do everything in the numerator at the same time that we're doing everything in the denominator, and then we would divide the two results at the end. So we start with the numerator here. In the numerator, we do the exponent first. We have negative 2 times 9 plus 6. Now in the denominator, we have negative 5 plus 7, which is 2. Now we go back up to our numerator. We have multiplication and addition. We do the multiplication. We have negative 18 plus 6 divided by 2. Now we go back in our numerator again. Negative 18 plus 6 is a negative 12. And that is divided by 2. Now we have a negative divided by a positive, which automatically lets us know that our final answer would be negative. Again, a negative divided by a positive automatically lets us know that our final answer will be negative. So 12 divided by 2 is 6. So our final answer is a negative 6. Now we need to scroll down to problem number 7. Now with problem number 7, we have two sets of parentheses here. We have this first parenthesis, and we also have our absolute value bars. First, we do the parentheses from left to right. So we have in this parenthesis negative 3 times 2, which is a negative 6, and that's squared, minus 5 times the absolute value of negative 8. Now there's nothing more we could do inside of this parenthesis. So we go over to the other parenthesis, which is the absolute value. The absolute value of negative 8 is 8. So we write down the negative 6 parentheses squared minus 5. And then the absolute value of negative 8 is 8, like was stated earlier. We would change the absolute value bars to a regular parenthesis. and we would make that positive 8. Now, there's nothing we could do with these parentheses. Now we look at the exponent. We have parenthesis negative 6 squared. Parenthesis negative 6 squared is parenthesis negative 6 times parenthesis negative 6, which is a positive 36. Minus, we could take 5 times 8, which would give us 40. Now we have 36 minus 40, which is a negative 4. Now we move on to problem number 8. Now if you notice, we have this bracket here. Now brackets is a form of parentheses, so we need to go inside of this bracket, and if you notice, we have another set of parentheses here. We do that set of parentheses first. So we will have negative 4 bracket negative 6 plus 5, and in the parenthesis, negative 3 plus 5 is positive 2. Now we still have values inside of this bracket here. This parenthesis, we cannot do anything else with it. So what we would do next is we have addition and multiplication. So we would do the multiplication. So we would have negative 4 bracket negative 6 plus 10. And then minus 7 on the outside. Okay, now we still have this bracket. We could do the negative 6 plus 10, which would give us positive 4 minus 7. Negative 4 times 4 would give us a negative 16. And we subtract 7. Now, again, we had the operation multiplication here, and we had subtraction, so we were supposed to multiply first. Now, we had negative 16 minus 7, which gives us a negative 23. And that is it from that problem.